All right, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for taking some time out of your morning here on Thursday to join us on Lions Talk Live. You know what? We've got a couple things that you're seeing probably on the news yesterday with the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo Bills had to cut not just one, two, but man, they cut a whole lot of people off that team yesterday. And they, I'll say this for the Buffalo Bills. It's got to be tough to be a fan of them today just because they gave up on a lot of guys just because salary cost or salary cap cost, and that purge was painful. They had to cut just, oh man, I don't even know if I know the whole list. All pro safety Jordan Poyer. Let's see, Pro Bowl cornerback Trey Darius White. Pro Bowl center Mitch Morse. All pro kick returner Deontay Hartley, running back Nia Hines, defensive back Sarah Neal, and also I had to get the two people to restructure the contracts, including Von Miller. What you see here, in my opinion, is, hey, I get they were in it to win it for a couple seasons. I also think the San Francisco 49ers are going to be doing more than likely something very similar to this next year because of their cap numbers and issues. Now, today's show is, are there any of these players, and there's a few of them, that would benefit the Detroit Lions? In my opinion, I think there are. I think potentially White would be in play for the Detroit Lions. I know we've all talked ad nauseum about Ladarius Sneed, who, as you guys know, I love to death. I think he's an awesome corner. I think he's not quite the elite shutdown corner that everybody wants on their team, but let's also be honest. There's, gosh, man, maybe three of those guys in the league. Maybe an argument could be made for more, but I'm going to say this. There are very, very few like that. So Sneed's just a bit beneath that. I would say it sounds like if you're going to acquire him, you're going to have to trade either pick 29 or a second-round pick and maybe a little bit more to get him away from somebody else. Who knows, though, if there's no real trade market, if other teams aren't offering, then, we might be able to get away with something less. It just doesn't, to me, seem like something Brad Holmes would do, but it doesn't mean he hasn't reached the point with looking at this roster where he says, Brad Holmes, we're at a point where now we need to do something different than what we've done. It does seem like the Lions want to build through the draft, though, which makes me at least initially believe that giving up a second or a first or whatever isn't in the cards for the Lions. All right, with all that being said, I'm going to tell you guys up front here, probably only going to be able to go for about, 30 to 40 minutes today. The team won last night, huge, basically fourth quarter rally to win, and I am spent. And we've got practice at 3:00 today. I've got to break down probably about 4 different games of video to where I feel like I've got some comfortable information to take the team through some practice today, make some adjustments to what we're going to see on Friday. So apologies in advance. I'll go as long as I can, but I got to try to free up 10, 15 minutes from probably about 4 different things in my workday to try to have an hour or two to break down video. So again, apologies. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Making that push for 6,000. I want to say we're like 30 subs away from it. So if you are so willing and kind, please consider subscribing. Also hit that thumbs up button if you're able to. It helps the channel out. Last thing but not least, and I didn't get to sleep till like 1:00 last night because I was watching some video when we got back from the game, and I'm working out about 4 hours of sleep here. So sorry guys if I'm not my best today. But outside of being a coach and a YouTuber, I am a realtor and have been for since the dawn of time. We'll just go with that. So if you're considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, give me a call, shoot me a text, 269-998-2384. If you're outside of the state of Michigan, you can still contact me. I can still offer you some good advice, maybe some thoughts, and try to help you out as best I can. All right, I got to speed this up a little bit today. So welcome to Lions Talk Live. Let's get this going. And let me know what you guys think of the purge in Buffalo. And are there any guys on that purge list that you think, man, the Lions really should be in play for it? To me, like I said a few minutes ago, the obvious one's going to be White just because you need help at cornerback. He's going to help out quite a bit with it. An argument I think could be made for Mitch Morse. Could you move him to guard? I haven't watched any video on the guy. I don't know if he's going to be applicable to move from center to guard, but if he could, and at the right price, could you bring him in? So at least those are two off my thoughts. Maybe Hartley, the Pro Bowl kick returner, although I think the lines are fairly sound there. But let me know what you guys think. All right, let's get this thing going. Moonscar, good morning, Coach and Do Crew! Exclamation points. Congrats on the W 69-63. And yes, the Bills should be a cautionary take. They should be because, like I said earlier, I mean, I get everybody's got different ways to go about doing something. You know, the Rams obviously had the skip the picks once they got to a certain point with the roster, and they were all in it to win it. You know, you could say they won it. You could also, the naysayers to that method will also say, man, if the 49ers safety holds on to Matt Stafford's punt interception in the NFC title game, the Rams don't make it, and it was all for naught. So I get that. But they did get it. They did win it. The Bills went all after it, and, at least so far, it looks like they're not going to be in it to win it because they're having to free up cap space by cutting a bunch of people. You guys have heard my thoughts about the 49ers, too, that I think they will be the Buffalo Bills basically next year. I think they're in cap hell, basically. So while they've made it to the Super Bowl, they've lost. They've made it to the NFC title game, whatever it is, 4 or 5 straight years. They've lost. It really does come down to you need a little bit of luck at some point. The Lions made it to the NFC title game last year on a draft the team type mentality. Their window's probably another 3 years at least. So, what they do from here, we'll see. But I do think you need to pay some attention to what's happening with the Buffalo Bills and potentially the 49ers. And thanks for the congrats, by the way, Moonscar. Michael, what do you got? Great salutations, Coach and Do Crew. Congrats on the win last night. Woo! Thank you very much, man. And I'm going to need probably a full Mountain Dew today. All right, Bird Time. Good morning, Do Crew, and congrats, Coach. Happy for you. Thanks, man. Yeah, the team, man, that bus ride back last night. I don't know if I've ever seen them so pumped, but, man, they have no small task Friday. We're going to play a damn good team, and it's gonna be a real test for us for sure. All right, Bo, what do you got? Good morning, Do Crew. Congrats, Coach. Thank you, man. Thank you very much. Thanks, Bo. Robert G. Good morning, Dan and crew. Congrats on a great win last night. Thanks very much, man. Thank you all. Brent, good morning. Good morning, Coach Do Crew. Congrats on the W, Coach. Bills are really doing a big salary cap dump at perfect time for us. Probably scoop somebody up. Woo! Yeah, and the crazy part is, Brent, you're 100% right, and I hope you're doing okay. Give us a status update on you when you get a free second. I think there's going to be a few more teams that are going to be forced into getting rid of some people. How I really think this could benefit Detroit is if more and more cornerbacks that, again, they're probably not going to be the Sneeds of the world. They're not those guys. They might just be a little bit below them. The more some of these guys do get cut, I think it really opens up some tremendous possibilities for the Lions to sign somebody and maybe get them at a slightly lower price if they want to come to Detroit, play for a winner. Plus, the more guys hit the market, they're going to be competing against each other to get re-signed on top of the top flight corners out there. So let's see what happens. Eduardo, question for Dan and the crew. It is draft night picks. 1, 2, and 3 are Williams, Daniels, Harrison Jr. The Lions trade up to pick 4. What's your first thought? Oh boy. I don't know if I'm awake enough for that one there, Eduardo. If they're trading up to pick 4, I think they're probably going to, at least in my thoughts, they're probably going after a quarterback. Maybe wide receiver is possible. I just don't think there's a defensive player. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just not thinking of somebody this morning. And if that's the case, I apologize, guys. What you would have to give up to go from 29 to 4 is going to be massive. But I'm just not sure if there's that dominant defensive edge this year that would come in and impact the team right away. And probably an argument could be made for cornerback. Maybe I haven't thought of somebody, but at least that's my thought. If you guys have thoughts on that, though, put it in the comment section. Bo, Quandre Diggs coming back. I wouldn't mind at all. I think he's an MCDC kind of guy. Mosley is a good thing, and he adds depth. And maybe having already injured both ACLs, no longer at risk. If I gotta imagine at the NFL level, how about this? Any level, the chances of you re-tearing an ACL that's been surgically enhanced and repaired is probably pretty remote, at least from my experience. So to your point, Bo, yeah, he's probably okay, good to go in regards to that. But then again, the right hit, the wrong time on any knee or whatever can cause tears in it. So I'm with you though. Diggs coming back, I'd have no problem with him, but he's going to have to do so more than likely, I would suspect, as he's going to have to understand he's probably going to be a backup. If he's at that point in his career where he's like, heck with it, I'm good. Maybe they understand he'll be a rotational piece, like he's going to be on the field, but maybe not a quote unquote starter. Then yeah, he's probably in play to return to Detroit. Eduardo, trust me, at Brent, you don't want anyone that Buffalo is getting rid of. Yes, they have salary cap issues, but if they were good, they'd find a way to keep them. Yeah, and an argument could be made for that too, Ed or Eduardo, that the Bills really want to keep everybody. There are ways to get them to restructure or whatever. Then again, I guess, to be fair to the players, you have to agree to restructure. So there's that aspect too. Mike, the Marine, howdy, Dan Lionsville. I hope you have a great day, my friend, too. Hey, back at you. I hope your day is awesome. I know what I'm going to be doing once I'm off the air. It's going to be a lot of video grind. Eduardo, would you rather, one, get a man corner and run man / zone splits with Sutton, or get a zone corner and commit to being a fully zoned team? If it's me, man to man, it's just, zones are great if you can get a lot of blitzing out of them that gets there quick, or pass, in my opinion, pass pressure or pressure on the quarterback that forces the zone into more favorable situations. The problem with zone, in my opinion, is if you only run it, somebody's going to pick you apart. The better teams are going to, be able to block long enough to get somebody open. It's just my druthers, my opinion. I'd rather be able to go man across the board and send the house at you a lot of times, because eventually, you might be able to pick us apart going down the field on a 10, 14, 15 play drive. But what I'm going to say, my mentality with that man across the board and pressure is that, you know what? You might get a bunch of plays in a row. We only need you to get one play wrong per drive where we tip it. You're a little off in your pass. You throw it a little late, and now it's going the other way. So that's my thoughts. All right, Robert, send the 29th pick to Kansas City for Sneed in a trade. It is possible. I think 100% sure. You're going to have to obviously work out a new contract for Sneed if you do it, but it's totally possible. My thing is, Robert, and I know I've said on the show before, if we make that trade or a second round pick or, whatever it's going to be, we send that pick, you're giving us one back. Yes, it will be a lower level one, so maybe like a 6th or 7th round pick, but I'm going to demand that return. All right, Moonscar, for me, Eduardo, if some crazy reason they get up to 4, I'm picking the best edge player available. Build for now with that pick. I'll go with that, man. Yeah, and there might be somebody up there. I'm a little, foggy this morning. Eduardo, Robert G., the reports were that it would be a second rounder at the most. Yeah, and if you can get it for a 3rd or 4th, I'd probably be all in on that deal. And again, try to get a 7th out of it. Bo, we should be able to run both man and zone situational. Yeah, I would agree with that. If you really want good flexibility, be able to mix up your coverages, yes, you've got to be able to run both. Garland, greetings and salutations. I hope Brad signs White from the Bills purge yesterday. And I do wonder, is he in play? We could all speculate on 20 different corners at this point, because there's a lot of guys out there who would help the Detroit Lions. Mosley, I do think he's going to end up being healthy this year. I do think he's going to help exponentially. Sutton, not a bad corner by any stretch of imagination, especially when that toe heals up and he's not lined up against the other team's number 1 receivers. So if we add more to it at this point, I really am starting to think the Lions secondary could be pretty legit, especially if we're able to get another defensive talented player who can put pressure on the quarterback consistently. maybe we can get 2 edge rushers or, interior defensive line and edge. Eduardo, I think out of the 6 teams that were reported to have inquired about Sneed, we have the most available cap, but pick the lowest. So if we get him, it'll come down to KC wanting to do right by him. Yeah, that, let's just say that I know, Eduardo, you said that and I agree with you, a lot of the speculation is it's going to be around a second round pick to acquire him. The worry I would have with that is sort of like with Montez Sweat. Why I think ultimately we didn't get him last year is, our second round pick, and by the time the trade deadline came around, you could tell our second round pick was here where Chicago's was going to be way up there. And, basically Chicago's was almost a first round pick where ours was almost a third round pick. So it could come down to some minute detail like that where, Detroit, just because of how we performed last year, simply our second round picks, almost a third, we're going to have to go up to giving up a first round pick. And that could be ultimately something Brad Holmes just doesn't feel comfortable doing. All right. Quentin, greetings, salutations all. Bills fans roasting over this yesterday. Yeah, I got to imagine. I know on the bus ride back, I saw some of the memes and all that stuff about it. But yeah, tough day to be a Bills fan, man, for sure. Eduardo, instead of KC being greedy and getting the highest pick possible, if that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it could be that, but at the same time, KC's running a business. They're probably going to go after whatever benefits them the most. I don't think they're really going to be worried about, his future career. And I would say this, they probably want to send him to an NFC team. That would also help us because, they would only face him potentially in playoffs or once every, 3 years when that comes around, when you play that division. All right, Detroit D, good morning to everyone. Go Lions, back at you. Hopefully have a great morning. All right, Eduardo, Bo, the reason I'm being up is most of the league runs a man/zone split type defense and is very effective in that way. Modern defenses are. That's why I want us to get a man corner. Yeah, I mean, I think you can get. I mean, I would agree to that. You want to be able to mix it up as much as possible. I also agree that Sneed is more of a man corner than a zone corner. Sutton, conversely, is more of a zone corner than a man corner. You could see even last year when they were asking him to play a lot of man-to-man, his instincts were to keep eyes in the backfield and not keep contact with his receiver or eyes on the receiver. So you could just see in pressure moments, he went back to what he knew, and that is, reading the quarterback and playing zone style defense. But I do think he's going to be okay this year, especially, again, reiterating, if he's not the primary or cornerback number one. John King, what do you got? Yes, the window to win can close fast. We don't need a lot. We are good enough to win last year, a player or two away from the Super Bowl. Yeah, so now just make everything a little bit better, keep everybody healthy, keep a lot of depth across the board for those moments when people will get hurt inexplicably. It's going to happen to every team. Bo, has Sneed said anything publicly about the Lions? Not to my best knowledge. I haven't seen anything out of him about that. AJ, good morning to the Dew Crew. Back to you too. Hopefully having a great, fantastic morning. Robert G, take the best deal available! ! But go get him. He would be a defensive game changer for Detroit. I'm assuming you're talking about Sneed. Yeah, I mean, he would help out a whole lot without question. That secondary would start looking pretty good with who we have at safety, plus the current corners on the roster. So, and with that being said, also, I want to take a moment. I didn't even think about it right now, but hey, give a shout out to Jerry Jacobs, man. He was here for 3-4 seasons, did everything in his ability to help the team out. I get he became the target by a lot of Lions fans for maybe getting picked on by every other team, but he was never meant to be the number 2 corner. Unfortunately, with Mosley's injury, some other situations that didn't go Detroit's way, he was forced in the number 2 corner position, and he did the best he could. Then it's unfortunate that people shame players, and hey, man, I do it too. When really he was plugged in there. And did the best he could, but obviously he's not an NFL number 1 or 2 corner. He was probably always meant to be a number 3 or 4. But hey, bravo to him on a great time here in Detroit, and wish him nothing but best from here. All right, Eduardo, so you can start running that type of defense. It opens up a lot of things that you could do creatively. Yeah, I think AG would like to be more creative with things. I also get he prefers to be more assertive and aggressive to help mask other things, but also to put more pressure on opposing offenses. So it'll be interesting to see what we do this offseason to help prepare for next season. Papa agrees. Salutations, everyone. I think there are enough good corners now in free agency and more to come. Whereas the Lions do not need to trade and also sign Sneed. That is part of it. I mean, if you go get him, you've traded for him, and two, you're going to be paying the guy because you're not going to trade to go get him on a 1-year deal. You're going to want to re-sign him. All right, Bo. Eduardo, I agree. Being able to run everything will help the other team. Keep them guessing, man. 100%. Eduardo, Papa Noel, if they aren't going to get one of the elite corners, then they need to invest heavily in the defense to make that secondary look elite. Yeah, they're going to have to get more pressure. If, in your scenario, if they can't get another corner, then yeah, you're going to have to go back to being Blitzburg like last year to generate pressure to limit what the secondary has to go through. All right, Clark, good morning. I still think if we trade for a corner, it will be someone like Lattimore from the Saints. I just don't see Brad giving up a second and a huge contract. Yeah, I would say that at least so far in his time in Detroit, that hasn't been Brad Holmes. Stephanie, good morning. Good morning to you too. Eduardo, my only issue with getting a stacked D line and having a not so great secondary is look at the Eagles last year. Teams just max protected against them. They did. Yeah. So you're going to have to pick your poisons with stuff. But I do want to reiterate, I do think we're going to get another corner. It's just going to be a question of who it's going to be. Anthony, good morning. Duke Cruz, Super Bowl or bust, back at you. Hopefully having a great morning. And, thanks for all you do for the show, man. Thank you very much. All right. YouTube, what do you got? Greetings and salutations. One pride. Fair enough. All right. Robert, greetings and salutations. Agreed. And hopefully having an outstanding morning. Boo, Superdome or bust. Thanks for that, Bo. Thank you very much. Eduardo, we need to stop saying, quote, I don't see Brad doing this, end quote. No one saw him taking running back at 12 nor linebacker at 18, and he still did it. Open up your minds and be open to Brad doing anything. Yes, 100%. Chances are most of us are going to be caught off guard by whatever he chooses to do. Eduardo, Mountain Dew or bust. Yes, I'm going to need that today 1,000%. I can't wait to see Bobby because you know what? I'm running on fumes right now. Franz, good morning all. Free agency or bust. Yes, there we go. The countdown is on. We are days away from free agency. Eduardo, what is everything everyone's going what is everyone's go-to ice cream? Question mark. I am basic. I'll go with vanilla with caramel. I'm can't believe I'm going to say this on air. I am two things. Depends on my mood. Vanilla with hot sauce or vanilla milkshake with one shot of tequila in it. Can't be more than that because then it gets nasty. But if you go with one shot, that is real good. So there you go. Robert G, if Brad don't make a big move, hopefully not, and don't make the playoffs this season, it would be a huge blow to his career. Just my opinion. Yeah, I get it, man. And we all get it. The NFC North is going to be incredibly competitive this year. And not that it wasn't last year. Just some of the teams like the Packers and the Bears were going into some flux. Unfortunately for the Vikings, they just had a scrutiny. I don't even know if that's a word, but they had a whole lot of major injuries that slowed them down. So I do think you're going to be in an arms race like we've talked before on the show, and it's going to be, hey, who's going to do more to help uplift their team to give them everything possible to have the opportunity to win this year. Trey, what's good all? Question mark. Hey, Coach Dan, congrats on your team's big playoff comeback win. Seeing you guys in the news was this morning. Yeah, I haven't even checked that stuff out, but I saw the cameras there and stuff, and I got to imagine, Friday's game is going to be incredibly packed. I mean, there will be probably news media outlets from everywhere. You got 2-21. We've got 22 wins down the season. They've got 21. Both teams only have 2 losses. Both teams have beaten the other team once. 2 of the top 10 teams in the state. Yeah, it will be a packed house, and it will be hopefully a very good game. All right, Anthony Eduardo. If your D line is stacked, makes your secondary look great, even if even if they're subpar. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. Ukadu, good morning, coach, and the Do crew. Back at you, buddy. Eduardo, you aren't wrong, and Anthony, but the Eagles have a stud D line and got thrown all over last year. Yeah, I think they had a multitude of things going against them, including some of it, disgruntled participants between the coaching staff and the players, vice versa. Yeah, they had a lot of issues going on in Philly as the year progressed. Eduardo, if you still need to invest in above average corner play, yeah, I'll go with that. Property Lord, good morning. Good morning to you too. All right, Motown Mitch, what do you got? Seattle also made a lot of cuts. Yes, they did. And I think you're going to see in the next probably 72 hours just a ton more of cuts coming. Just some teams, unfortunately, are in a cap situation where they've got to make some real tough decisions. And that's where we all call Brad Holmes, Dollar General Brad and all this other stuff, but also give the guy some praise. The Lions currently have gone through the tough parts in his rebuild process of making sure we don't have all this dead cap space. So we should be in a position where, unless we really just make some all in it to win it, signings or whatever, the Lions for the foreseeable future should not be in cap hell. All right, Brent, Brad has to be cooking now, and I can't wait to see what he pulls off out of the oven, exclamation point. A man-to-man corner, question mark. I think there's a real possibility for it. 100%, Brent. Ed, good morning, coach and Do crew. Back to you, Ed. Hopefully having an outstanding one. Bo, the whole is greater than the sum for the parts. Yes, I agree with that. Detroit Grit, Anthony, 100% D line stacked and always getting to quarterback. A subpar corner will look good. Yes. But I think there's going to be some good corners. I'm not going to call them great, but I think there's going to be some real good ones for the Lions to go after. Thaddeus, gas crew. All right. I'll go with that. Gas crew it is. All right, Anthony, I think that was the worst team self-destruction I've seen, the Eagles. There's a big argument to be made because don't forget, at one point, they were the NFL's last remaining undefeated team, and I want to say they were like 9-0 or 10-0, and then only finished with like 11 wins because they just really imploded. I don't think it's just one thing you could point a finger at. I think it's across the board with a lot of different people that probably need to be held accountable, and that's players and coaches alike, front office alike, etc. Detroit Grit, Eagles gave it all in. No one wanted to play second half of the season. Yeah, they pretty much gave up on that second half of the season. You can especially see that in the playoff game against Tampa Bay. They really looked like they were just going through the motions. All right, Brent, Patricia sure did help the Eagles, didn't he? Question mark. LOL. Yeah. Patricia, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know the guy. I didn't really interview him or anything. He just, to me, seems like an odd personality to be a head coach. People have to want to run through a wall for you in almost any sport. And I would say there's at least some evidence that people aren't running through, a plastic bag for that guy. So, food for thought. All right, Anthony, congrats, coach, on the win. Way to pick them up. Hey, they were outstanding down the stretch and couldn't really ask for much more, man. What a comeback. We caught lightning in a bottle, I guess you could say, for about 10 minutes there, whatever it was. And yeah, what a comeback. All right. Bo, Eagles proved the Patty effect. There you go. Fair enough. Donkey Kong, Super Bowl or bust. And thank you for doing that almost every show, man. Thank you very much for that, Donkey. Detroit D, Monday morning show is going to be bananas. Yes. And, I might even see if I don't have a busy schedule, I might do a live if you guys want. I want to say kickoff for free agency is at 1 o'clock. So maybe 15, 30 minutes beforehand, because let's be honest, some news is going to start hitting the wires probably around noon or 12:30, maybe even the day before. I don't know, man. But maybe if there's not a lot going on, we can all talk about that for anybody interested. All right, Donkey Kong. Woo! Woo! Dollar General Brad going to be getting some nice mid-free agents. Hey, you know what? If they help out and they work, I'm all for it. Detroit Grit, just wish we could get a free agent over free agency over so we can know exactly what we're aiming for in the draft. Yeah, I'll go with that, man. And yeah, there's even when free agency hits and it's done, we probably all think we're going to have an idea what Holmes is going to do in free agency. And we're all probably going to be very, very disappointed by the fact that all of our mock drafts and everything, we're probably way off. Pierce Diggs, yes, we might be able to bring him back 100%. David, I commented, acknowledge me. Yeah, I'm acknowledging you and your comment. Thank you for that, David. Donkey Kong. Lions ain't giving crap for Sneed. Yeah, there might be that truth, 100%. Detroit Grit, so many dogs and second tier in free agency will aim for. Yes, I will agree. I think we're probably going for the second tier guys. Doug, what do you got? Streamed a minute ago. LOL. I guess this is a watch only day. Yesterday, Facebook technology and algorithms over my head. Congrats on your win. Thanks for that. Thank you for that very much, Doug. And hopefully you got it all figured out as far as how to watch things. Doggone, nice job, Dan. Nice job to the kids. They're the ones who went out and did it. I gave them some kind of off-the-wall offenses and defenses to try to make the comeback happen. You know what? Hey, sometimes it works. All right, Moonscar, Eduardo, you asked some of the best questions. For me, ice cream, any flavor, but give me a coconut or peanut butter in it. There you go. Boo, excuse me, Bo. We appreciate any time you can give us that. Hey, I'm going to give you guys as much as I can here today. Detroit Grit, congrats on the win, Coach. Thanks for that. Thank you very much. Anthony, wouldn't be mad getting Diggs back. That was a dumpster fire trade by Quinn. Yeah, I agree with that, man. Really gutted the heart of the team by getting rid of Diggs and then Slay. Yeah, I mean, but hey, those guys, I've got no problem saying Bob Quinn is not one of my favorite Lions general managers, nor was Patricia as a coach. And Patricia, that was truly a very bad one and still doesn't set right. Yeah, I hope both guys retire Detroit Lions. I hope they come back and make that happen. Moonscar, coach of the team, up, coach, exclamation point. Got to be tougher on D Friday. Yeah, no joke there. But yeah, we're going to do what we can because that's going to be a game. Moonscar, hope we can have a large group of fans there to support you. I got to imagine both teams are going to have that place fairly well packed. Both times we've played, it's been a packed gym, standing room only, yada, yada. And I can't imagine this playoff game is going to be any different. All right, Robert G. In the past, when the Lions were in contention to make a run in the playoffs and had their opportunity to get an elite type of player to try and succeed, they have never been willing to spend the cash. Yeah, and maybe this is where this regime will be different. Maybe they do say, all right, we're at the point we need to try to do a little bit more. The more time has gone by from last year, we have found out that Brad Holmes did try to get, Donnell Hunter, did try to get Brian Burns, did try to get Montez Sweat. And there's probably other guys I'm not thinking of off the top of my head. It's just at some point, Brad Holmes hits the point where like, all right, you're asking too much for those guys, or we can't compete with those other offers. So we'll see what ends up happening. It'd be really nice to get one of those big name guys, but he's also prepped us before free agency and said, hey, we're not here to win the springtime. We're here to win in the regular season and not worry about headlines during the offseason. Broski Bear, what do you got? If you were the Bears, who would you draft at, or what would you do with the number one pick? All right, if I'm the Bears, and just being as straight up honest as I can be here, I would trade the number one pick, assuming I can get either 3 firsts in return for it, or 2 firsts and like a second, a third, and fifth, or something like that. I might even be open, as much as I'm going to hate saying this, if there was a high enough draft pick offered for Justin Fields, I might consider it. Just because I believe Chicago's got a lot of good parts. Now, if I can build up the rest of the team, I do think you could use the Jared Goff system, where basically you get a top 15 to 10 quarterback out there. And I do think you can get someone like, say, a Russell Wilson. Heck, man, Gardner Minshew looked pretty good last year. Now, you surround them with a ton of talent around them. You got cap space at the quarterback position, because you're going to have to renegotiate some of those contracts. An argument could be made just to build around Justin Fields. But to me, that's what I would do. What I think the Bears are going to do, I think they're going to take Caleb Williams and trade Justin Fields. And I get it because, you know what, after Mitch Trubisky and all that scenario, I don't know if they're really in the position where anybody's wanting to put their career on the line by saying, nah, we're going to potentially skip on another second, the second generational quarterback we could have taken. That would not sit well if they didn't work. But me, I don't really care if I get fired. I'm going to do what I think is best. That's what I would do. One Funky, why does everyone talk about the Niners dropping one pick and skip over the fact that the Rams dropped two in that game? They did. And one of them would have been a pick six by Ramsey. Yes. And Ramsey, I know we've also found out just real quick that Brad Holmes tried to get Ramsey last year. Just didn't happen, didn't work out. But you are right, One Funky. People don't talk about that. It is what it is, man. All right, Sean, what do you got? The Seahawks seem to be dropping some secondary too. Yes, they are. One Funky Broski, I would take Harrison Jr., and then the next pick, I'd take Niebers. During the free agency, I would go after O-line heavy. Yeah, find out what you can really have in Fields. Yeah, the tough part is, like I was just saying, I agree with you to a degree there on that, One Funky, is that if the Bears front office passes on us in a second generational quarterback, like they did with Patrick Mahomes, if Caleb Williams ends up being the man or Drake ends up being the man or whatever, and you didn't go for them, yeah, it's going to be tough on Bears fans and that front office. All right, Anthony, for those that are DM me on T-shirts, the road leads through Coach till he gives me the go-ahead. Yeah, if to be honest, Anthony, if you want to go ahead and get something going with it, go for it, man. Get the T-shirts going. I'll see where Jen's at with things, but probably at least the next 48 hours and hopefully going into next week. Yeah, my time is going to be pretty limited with all this coaching stuff. But thanks for that, though, man. Thanks for all you do. Jared, good morning, Coach and Duke crew. Exclamation points. Congrats on the W last night and the season thus far. My first, woo! There you go, Jared. And thanks for the kind words, man. Eduardo, Dan, you sound like you were partying last night. I see you. Congrats. No, man, just up all night. By the time I got back from school to the house, it was probably pushing 10 o'clock. Then, you try to watch video of the upcoming team, which I watched until probably about 1 o'clock. Did a little bit of video breakdown of what we did last night, what we could have done better, try to identify some things to work on today to try to get ready. All right, Eduardo, Dallas Turner, Dan Dallas Turner, his comp is Josh Allen. Yeah, and he's got some good grades on him. I know that. So as we get closer to the draft and everything, I'll try to break down a little bit more on him. All right, Silver, hello, Coach, and everyone else. Back to you, Silver. Hopefully you're having a great day. Josh signed some player today. Yes, that would be nice for breaking news stuff. All right, Eduardo, I'm not saying they are the same players, but Nick Bosa has torn both ACLs. This is also true. That is correct. Silver, how was your game, Coach? We end up pulling off a big late fourth quarter rally, comeback, whatever you want to say, to get the win. Jared, no. Second, maybe. Yes. One Funky. People say Diggs is a Dan Campbell guy. Confuses me. Do people forget Diggs was pouting about having to play in the box and was upset that Walker took over the free agent spot instead of him? Hey, maybe he's going to come back here. Maybe he's not. But, I do get your points on that, One Funky. All right, Josh, can we get a trade next week? There you go. I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a burger today. There you go. I don't know if everybody will get that reference. Randy, good morning, all. Do you think the Lions have any interest in DL Jonah Ellis from Utah? His dad is Luther Ellis, who played for the Lions back in the day. One of my favorite players from yesteryear. Yeah, and Luther was a man among boys for a while. He had a couple seasons where he was just off the charts good. That is a great question about his son, man. I don't know, man, but I got to imagine, Luther appeared to really enjoy his time in Detroit. I got to imagine, knowing that he knows Chris Spielman and some of the guys, they probably have done some real looking at him and probably gotten a little bit extra information because of the correlation with his dad. Waddle, yes, no on Diggs. Dude cries if he doesn't get the ball. Love his on the field work, but no, thank you. All right, fair enough. Anthony, Funky Diggs was traded before MCDC got in here, I believe. Yeah, he was traded during Bob Quinn, Matt Patricia, all that stuff. All right, guys, it's been about 40 minutes. I know I wanted to go a little bit longer, but I gotta get some of this stuff done today, and anytime I can free up would be great. So I'm gonna have to cut this one a little bit short today. If there is some breaking news today, I'll try to do a real quick short video. I'll maybe take a little bit of a break from the video breakdown from our games for Friday or game for Friday. But yeah, if you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're about 30 subs away from 6,000. Also, if you enjoyed the video today, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button. Again, sorry I got to cut out early, but just 3 o'clock is going to be here real quick. I got to leave for the school by 2:15. You got to get some actual work done. So yeah, just you got to pick your poisons when you can. But tomorrow should be back to a full hour. So again, apologies in advance. Hope you all have a great day, and we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.